Hello, I'm Claire Smith and welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to do the 25 questions tag. I've seen loads of YouTubers do this and I haven't been tagged, disappointingly, but I'm just going to do it. So I think the last person I saw do this video was Paula Bianca, so I'll link that video down below. But let's just get on with this. So there's 25 questions and they're all about perfume and your perfume collection. So here's number one. So how many perfumes do I own? So I think I own around 80 to 85 perfumes. So number two, what is your favourite fragrance family? I actually don't think I have a favourite fragrance family. That's really hard to say. I think I like a lot of different things. I like orientals, I like florals, I like fruity perfumes. I think that I'm going more towards sort of muskier scents and sort of clean skin scents at the moment, but it kind of changes and it depends on the season. So I think it's hard to answer that question. Questions 3 and 4, how many sprays do you spray and where? Again, it depends on the perfume. If it's something really strong, I might only spray once or twice. If it's something really quite weak or something that I know that doesn't last, I might spray 6, 7 or 8 sprays. And I might spray more on my clothes than I will on my skin because it's just more likely to last that way. I tend to spray sort of the places you're not supposed to spray. So everyone says don't spray here because it can cause skin aging if you expose this area to the sun because of the alcohol in scent. I do that. And I also spray behind my neck. And if I really want a perfume to project, I will spray my wrists and my inner elbows as well. So questions 5 and 6, what is your favourite perfume in your collection and what is your least favourite perfume in your collection? I think this is a really hard question again because I think it varies depending upon the season and depending upon your mood. You know, perfume for me is something that I get in the mood for, or I have like a feeling towards that day. It's not something that I generally have a favourite anymore. I think overall I have certain perfumes that I know for sure that I will always enjoy wearing no matter what the season, and there's quite a little hardcore group of those. That's my cop-out answer for most favourite. And least favourite, I would say that if I don't like a perfume, then it's disappeared from my collection or I just use it up very quickly. I think perhaps my least favourite perfume at the moment is probably Black Excess by Paco Rabanne. I think that one, because the bottle is leaking and I just kind of want rid of it now. And I think always I felt like there was a little bit of a plasticky undertone to that perfume, so I have the EDT version. So yes, I think that's probably my least favourite perfume. So number 7, how do you store your perfumes? Now if you see my perfume collection videos, you'll know that I store my perfumes in a really haphazard way. I'm not a very organised person generally, which is quite unusual for a scientist. I think scientists are generally quite organised people who like everything in order. That's not me, unfortunately. I really wish I was one of those really super tidy people. I watch those Alithia Marie kind of tidying my house videos and I wonder just how she possibly keeps her house quite so white and quite so pristine, because that just isn't me. So I keep all my perfumes on the top of a chest of drawers. They're in no real particular order. I try to divide them by season or by the feeling the perfume gives me rather than by brand or by line. So yeah, they're all a bit jumbled and I'm running out of room, but I think that's a good thing because it's going to limit the number of perfumes that I can actually own, and it's going to encourage me to work through them and to declutter any that I'm not especially enjoying or I'm not reaching for on a regular basis. So that's a good thing. Ideally, I would like to try to find somewhere where I could store them in a cupboard out of the light because I do worry about them going off where they are, but it is quite a dark room, so I think I'm safe. So number 8 is, how is your history of perfume? How did you get into perfume? I would say I don't have a typical perfume story because my parents really weren't into perfume. My dad, he coughs as soon as you come anywhere near him with a scent, so he's never going to wear a scent. And my mum, she is a signature scent kind of lady. She's always had Rive Gauche by Yves Saint Laurent, and she would only wear that when she was going out, and much to my father's complaints, she would just be discouraged from wearing that. So there was really never any kind of enthusiasm for perfume when I was growing up at all. Really, I would say the only person I knew of who had a history of scent wearing would be my grandmother. She always wore Elizabeth Arden's Blue Grass, and she also had a bit of an obsession with 4711 Eau de Cologne. So those two scents really remind me of her, but ultimately I think I just discovered scent through basically feeling down. I think when I first left university, I went to work in a really horrible job doing admin for the police, which I absolutely hated. It made me lose my faith in humanity, made me just question my life choices entirely. And I think I tried to cheer myself up basically by buying things. So I spent a lot of money on clothes, and I I lived for the weekends basically. I was just looking to get out of that job and that situation. And I think just because that job was just so depressing, I used to leave the police station at lunchtimes and walk into town, and I would just go to Boots or somewhere and sniff every single perfume I could get my hands on. And I'm sure they absolutely hated me in there because I never bought anything, but that was one of my favourite things to do. And I would literally just not even eat lunch. I would just go and sniff perfume for an hour and then run back to the police station. So I think that really did influence my love of perfume because it was just escapism from that horrible job. So question 9 is, do you declutter, and what is your main reason for decluttering? So yes, I declutter, and I would say that my main reason for decluttering is that I just don't like the scent. I don't think you can know for sure, even if you sample a perfume, whether you're going to have a long-term relationship with it. Your tastes change. Things like seasons can really influence whether you enjoy perfume or not. It can smell very different on skin to card. You might not have even sampled it before you've bought it because you might have blind bought it because you can't always sample perfume. So I can definitely see why there are reasons for decluttering, and I do declutter, although I try not to declutter very much and I try to buy sensibly. I will never bin fragrance because that's so totally wasteful. So I will either try to move it on to somebody else who I think might enjoy it, or I will sell it. So the next question is about empties. So have you emptied any perfumes recently, and which perfumes? I recently made a video of my perfume empties for 2020-2021, and I think there were 14 different bottles of perfume in that video. So you can go and check out my perfume empties if you haven't done already. So I'll link that video here to answer that question. Question 11 is, which perfume channels on YouTube are your favourites and which do you watch? I would say that I watch a lot of different channels on YouTube, and not only perfume, I actually really love comedy channels as well. I really love British comedy. I especially watch a lot of Alan Partridge videos. Yeah, I'm a massive Alan Partridge fan. I'm going to see him in May. I can't wait. Literally, if I wasn't married to my husband, I'd be married to Alan Partridge. I'm subscribed to so many perfume channels, and I love all of them for very different reasons. So there are some people that I watch just for a bit of a fantasy element, like Jon Snow, for example, or I watch for a nice chatty video like scentsiblings.ca, or I watch because I just think they're a lovely, lovely person, like Happiness Sparkles. She just lights up my life. Or I might watch because they are just so into perfume and I love hearing about what they've bought recently. So people like Paola Bianca and Chantal Tiffany and 50 Cent UK. And there are loads of other channels. There's smaller channels, like I really love watching Grace Mwende. There are so many to name here, and I can't possibly name them all, but if you just check out my channels list, you will see who I'm subscribed to and you can judge for yourself whether you also like those channels. So question number 12 is, what was your first YouTube made me buy it? I am not entirely sure on this question. I would say that there are definitely early fragrances in my collection that YouTube had a massive influence on, and I would say it's probably my first haul video. YouTube made me buy all 3 of those. So in the first haul video I ever did was Zadig & Voltaire, This Is Her. It was Nina Ricci, L'Extase Rose Absolue, and it was also Guerlain's La Petite Robe Noire Black Perfecto. So yeah, all 3 of those were super hyped last year, weren't they? And that was just, that was my first haul video. So number 13, what is my ultimate goal for my perfume collection? I would say that it's to love every scent in my perfume collection, to never feel like I don't know what to wear, to always have an option that I think, yes, that I really want to wear that today. Yes, I'm going to smell amazing today. Yes, that's appropriate. That's everybody's aim in life, isn't it? To feel like they're sorted and they're a person who knows what they're doing and has their stuff together, and can look professional when they want to, but can also be fun when they want to. And I think that's really what I get from perfume. I get kind of that finishing feel to my day, that extra zing, that extra thing that makes me want to jump out of bed in the morning and get ready for a day. I think that I ultimately don't really want that many more fragrances. I don't want a massive collection. I don't want to be someone who has a lot of perfume bottles sitting around unused. I want to be able to rotate through my collection and to enjoy them. But I also want to try a lot of fragrances. And I think I'm reaching the point now where I'm going to have to start sampling rather than just buying bottles. And That's something I've really been hesitating to do because sampling can be really quite expensive compared to just buying a used fragrance, which is something that I generally do rather than buying new. So number 14 sort of leads on from that question, and it's what is your most expensive fragrance? And I find it really difficult to answer this question because, you know, if I buy fragrance, I generally buy it on sale or I buy it secondhand. So I'm going to go off like recommended retail pricing here for a start. So I think my two most expensive fragrances, my two Tom Ford fragrances, so Black Orchid and Orchid Soleil. But clearly I didn't pay full retail price for these. And, you know, one of these, I mean, this one was a total bargain. I got it as part of a bundle. So I didn't pay anywhere near retail price for this one. And I would say my most expensive of ones that I've actually bought myself is probably Aura by Mugler, because this is a big bottle and I think it was about £50. But I had a £50 Amazon voucher from work from winning a competition. So again, I didn't actually pay any cash for this. So does that count? I'm not sure. But I could have bought something else with those vouchers, so probably it does count. So question 15 is, what has been your best blind buy? I would say that I mainly blind buy fragrance, actually. It's a really bad habit, but I tend to not be able to sample things because I don't really live in a big city. And I would say that I've had quite a few successful blind buys. I can't really think of too many that I have disliked. Recently, I would say the one that shocked me that I liked quite so much was this one. So this is Moschino Funny. This is just a really orangey sort of tea scent, I would say. Very great for the summer, but there's just no way that had I seen this in the shop, I would have picked this up. And I didn't even mean to blind buy this. I just bought this because it was part of a bundle of other fragrances, and it was a good surprise, and that's quite rare, isn't it, with perfume, a good surprise. So I'd say this one was a very successful blind buy because I didn't even mean to buy it. Also, I would say the one that I really love, and I bought based purely off YouTube recommendations, and actually this is a fragrance that I got free for doing some surveys online, and they paid me in fragrance. How good is that? This was a Versace Crystal Noir. So yeah, that was definitely a good blind buy because it was free as well. So I would say also another recent one that comes to mind is Balenciaga Paris by Balenciaga. I've really been enjoying this fragrance too, and I think this is discontinued, so that was a very good blind buy because I would never be able to sniff that in a shop. So number 16 is, what is your partner's favourite fragrance? And I would say that my husband actually has no interest in perfume, and he really doesn't really recognise many perfumes, but there's only really one in my collection that he can tell when I'm wearing it, and that is Angel Nova by Mugler. I think just because it's so zingy, and he knows that kind of top note that you get in this fragrance, and the dry down of the Akagala wood in this was also super distinctive. So I think it's this one is the one that he would instantly recognise. And I think the one that he's most recently said something positive about, which is pretty rare actually, is Gucci Guilty Absolute. I was wearing this one last weekend and he said that he liked it. He could smell it on my clothes and he liked it. So yeah, I took that compliment and I'm running with it. So that's good. So question 17 would be, if you had a signature scent, which one would it be from your collection? I don't know. I really don't know. I used to have signature scents. So I think when I was really young, it was things like DKNY Be Delicious, and then it sort of turned into Lola by Marc Jacobs, then it turned into Black Opium by YSL, then it turned into Loverdose, and then it kind of all fell apart really, and I just started wearing loads of different perfumes. Now I would probably choose something quite neutral, so something that is kind of your skin but better feeling, so something like Glossier You. I would say that this is probably as close to a signature as I would get, and it's something that I have very little left of, and I'm kind of eking out because I don't want to have to buy another bottle. But yeah, I could easily wear this perfume every single day, and it's just sort of something that people notice on you. It's very distinctive, and I think it's something that doesn't shout. It's not loud, it's not in your face, it's very much reflecting how I am. I think I'm on the quieter side, and I think this perfume is probably a good match with me. So Glossier You would probably be my choice for a signature scent. Question 18 is, what do you think of dupe houses? Do you say yes or no? I actually don't have any dupe house perfumes at all, but I'm not adverse to buying them. I just have never actually got to smell any. So yeah, I mean, I think as long as they are as good as or better than the original for the price that they're offering, especially with things like longevity. I think the classic dupes that people get obsessed with are things like the Tom Ford perfumes. So things like Lost Cherry, I think, has a very good dupe from what I've seen on YouTube. And I'd really like to try ones like that. I think they definitely have a place. I think where the designer version has lost its way with the longevity, I think that's definitely somewhere where dupe houses can step in and basically correct the designer's error, really. But I also see that it's kind of treading on intellectual property, and as a scientist, you know, I can see why a designer would be really, really upset by that, because it's absolutely horrible as a scientist when somebody publishes something and then doesn't reference your paper that you published months and months ago. It's super upsetting. So I'm sure if you're a perfume designer, it's completely the same, and it's probably even more so because a lot of money's involved. So yeah, I think dupe houses have their place, but I'm not sure of the morals of them. So question 18 is, how often do you wear perfume? And I would say the answer that most perfume channels are going to give would be every single day, and that is my answer too. And I would say as well that I probably wear 2 or 3 scents per day if they fade. If they don't fade, then I'll perhaps only wear one, but I usually refresh my perfume when I get home from work. And if I'm at home all day, then I'll perhaps refresh it at lunchtime, or I'll change it at lunchtime if it's faded a little bit. I also like wearing different scents to bed, much to my husband's annoyance. So yeah, I wear several a day. Question 19 is, what is your last decluttered fragrance? So I actually decluttered a few fragrances a couple of months ago, and I can link that video down below. But of those 5 fragrances, I think I only have a couple left that I haven't sold now. And one of them is CK Into You Her by Calvin Klein. And yeah, I love the opening of this perfume, but there's something in the dry down that I just can't stand. So that's the reason I got rid of this one. I tried with it because the opening is just wow. But yeah, the dry down was not for me. So yeah, it's just one of those things. I just ended up not enjoying this one, and it just had to go. So question 18 is, what's on your wish list? I think I probably have quite a long wish list that I would probably take another video to go through. And I think that I have definitely 2 sets of wish lists. So I have like a complete fantasy wish list of fragrances that I can't sample, that are mega expensive, that I'm just sort of lusting after basically. And then I have the less expensive ones that I might actually possibly buy at some point if I see a good deal kind of wish list. So there's both of those, and I would say that recently my wish list of the cheaper fragrances has been expanding sort of towards Middle Eastern fragrances. I really want to explore Middle Eastern fragrances, and I really want to see whether it's something that I would like, because it's such a different kind of genre of perfume. And yeah, I mean, they're so inexpensive. I'm going to try a couple and see what I think. So yeah, I think that's where my wish list is kind of expanding, but there's definitely some others on that wish list, and sometimes they drop off my wish list and sometimes I buy them. So yeah, it's a very revolving door kind of wish list. So question 19 is, which fragrances do other people seem to love that you seem to really not like? I would say that there are a lot of celebrity perfumes that a lot of people seem to really love that I really don't like. So one that springs to mind, or a line that springs to mind, is Fantasy by Britney Spears. I just can't do that line. I've tried a couple of them now, and I just can't vibe with those. I would also say that I strongly dislike Ariana Grande fragrances, especially Cloud. And I know that one's so popular, but I just can't stand the dry down of that fragrance. The opening's fine, but then the dry down comes and I just can't. But you know, maybe my taste will change as I grow older. Maybe I'll start loving those perfumes. I don't know. So question 20 is, why do you love perfume? And I think there are several different reasons. I think that as a scientist, one of the things that really fascinates me is just how differently people perceive fragrance. Even the same fragrance, people can smell different facets of it, and it can be very linked to their experiences in life. So if you grow up smelling something, you might possibly either have a really strong hatred or a really strong like of that fragrance. And so different people from different areas are going to like different scents. And I think that's really fascinating. I think that sort of says something about human history and about scent memory. And I also love the way that perfumes can transport you to a part of your life. So you can just be right back in some magical moment in your past, or you can be in the depths of some despair where you smelt some particular smell. So it's good and bad, but it's kind of shocking how it can do that. And I also just love, the feelings that perfumes can give you. You can just feel like more ready for your day. I think it's one of those everyday luxuries that most people, especially in the UK, can afford. And I think it's just one of those things that makes life a little bit brighter, a little bit more interesting. So I think those are the main reasons that I really love perfume, as well as just the sheer variety of perfumes. Well, it's just astounding. There's so much out there to try. There's so many different houses. There's so many different levels of how deep you want to dive, basically. So yeah, it's a whole world to explore, and you can just get lost in it. It's escapism, basically. So the next question is, do you blind buy perfumes or do you sample perfumes? So I've kind of already answered this one. I mainly blind buy perfumes. I do try to go into stores and smell perfumes if possible before buying them, but generally I find the perfumes that I want to buy aren't available in stores. So I just end up blind buying them. And that's not to be advised, but it is kind of exciting in a way. It also can be a little bit disappointing, let's be fair. So yeah, it's good and bad, but I do tend to blind buy. And the final question is, what notes would you put in your own perfume? What would your own perfume be like? So I think I answered in a previous video that I would really like a sort of sweet key lime pie fragrance. And I definitely stand by that one. I think I would really like that kind of perfume for the summer, perhaps even with a bit of coconut as well. I think that'd be really delicious. But yeah, I think, I probably would over-egg the pudding there. So it's probably better if I leave it to perfumers rather than myself, because I'd just make a mess of it probably. So that's the final question answered in this video. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did like the video, please press the like button. And please consider subscribing if you haven't done already. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye!